Hey everyone, it's Paul Stevens here with iGo Sales and Marketing with another SuiteCRM tutorial. Today we are going to do a workflow tutorial, and it's a request I get from clients a lot to automate following up a campaign that's either an email or a mailing campaign with a scheduled phone call. Okay, so that's not exactly something that comes easily straightforward out of the box in SuiteCRM, but we can accomplish it with workflow. So today we're going to go through and do that. What I do want to say is if you are considering this, and I know a lot of people do, the sales manager in me is saying, that's a lot of wasted time. Okay, so if you want to, let's say you send out 1,000 letters to clients, okay, and then you task your sales team with following up on these 1,000 letters. Okay, so let's think this through for a second. They're gonna have a call, they're gonna send it out, they're gonna dial the person, they're not gonna get a hold of them, they're gonna reschedule the call, they might get a hold of 1 out of 10 people, and the call's gonna go something like this, like, I just sent you something, did you get it? And they're going to say either yes, in which case, I guess you're going to go into your spiel or something, or they're going to say no, and then your call's already off the rails here, and you're going to say, well, I guess I'll have to resend it, and I don't even, what's the purpose of my call? Okay, so again, I don't, I'm not, well, I guess I am making a judgment on the value of those kinds of calls. I would much rather recommend that instead of doing that, what you do is you send out your mailer with some sort of call to action, for example, go to my website and register the form, and you'll get a 20% off coupon, or tweet with hashtag, whatever the name of my promo is, and I'll send you or enter you in a draw to win an iPad or something, okay? Or something, schedule a call with me, and you get, I don't know, a free analysis or something, something like that. But the point is here, if you send out of 1,000, okay, and then you task your sales team to call and follow up, it's a huge amount of work for the, maybe, I don't know, 100 or less that might actually be interested at the time in, a further conversation or purchasing what you're talking about. So if you can get, the client to reach out to you in some sort of creative way, you're doing two things. One, you're eliminating all that work for your sales team and probably frustration. The second thing you're doing is you are giving them, instead of 1,000 cold calls to do, you're giving them 50 people who are interested, right? So you're using their time much more effectively. You're focusing on the right kind of people, the people who have taken action to follow up on your email campaign. Okay, so that's my recommendation. But having said that, if you do want to automatically create follow-up calls from some kind of a campaign, I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay, so let me just move myself out of the way here. Okay, go down to the side, and all this stuff is on my blog. I put the screenshots and all that kind of stuff. I'll put a link down below. Please go there. And again, one more thing. If you do like my videos, please like and subscribe. It really helps them get seen, and it allows me to make more videos. Okay. So now that we got that out of the way, what I have here is in my development environment here, I've got a test email campaign set up. So I'm not going to go through all the process of setting up a campaign. I have other videos on that, and hopefully you already know how to do that at this point, and you're looking for how to automate it. Okay, so a couple things here. The mailing type, or the type of the campaign, is a mail. Okay, and the status is active right now, and I picked a target list to send it to. Okay, so that is the campaign that we're going to start with. Okay, and what the object here is, all these people on the target list that got the campaign, okay, we want to automatically schedule a follow-up call for these people, I don't know, let's say 7 days from now or something, okay? So we can absolutely do that. First thing that we want to do here, though, is we're going to have to set up a relationship between the target list and the calls, okay, in order to be able to do this. So that's something we're going to have to do in Studio. So I'm going to go up here to admin. I'm going to go open another tab up here. Okay, I'm going to go down to Studio. And I want to go to target lists. This one here, okay? So the reason why I'm doing it from target lists is because I need a one-to-many relationship from the target list to the calls, okay? And you'll see later why we need this when we set up the workflow. But I have to do it from the target list side, not the call list side, because I can't do a many to one from the call side, which is what I need. So I have to do a one to many from the target list side, okay? So I'm going to go here to relationships and just make sure I didn't already set one up in my testing. No, I didn't. Okay, so I'm going to add a relationship here. Okay, what I want, target list, and I want one to many, and I want to relate that to calls. Okay, and you can call it something different if you want, but in this case calls make sense, so I'm going to just save and deploy. And usually it takes a minute to build all the relationships. Okay, usually what I also do after something like that, I'm just going to go back to admin, and it's good practice, you know, if you add new fields or relationships or anything like that, after you go and do it, I usually go to repair and quick repair and rebuild, and that just solves the problem of, you know, that it's not displaying on the front end, or it's getting cached, or any of those issues. It fixes a lot of that stuff, okay? So now that I have the relationship set up, the next thing that I want to do, so in calls here, so if I add a new one, okay, I can relate this to a bunch of stuff here, okay? And what I want to relate this to is the target list, but as you can see, there is no target list here, okay? So the next step is we want to go to admin, and we are going to go to I'm looking for the drop-down editor. There it is. Okay. All right. So the field here I'm looking for is parent type display, which is this one here. Okay. So I want to add the target list here. And you want to be very careful. You need to use like the module name, like that's used in the programming and the coding and in the database. So for the name of the item. So what it is prospect lists, exactly like that. And the label, you can call it whatever you want. Okay. And I'm going to add it. I'm going to sort it ascending. Okay. And I am going to save that. Okay. All right. So that's that step done. Okay. So we're getting very close to creating the workflow here. So now that that is added, if we go and just check to make sure that worked, we'll go to calls. I will log a call, and hopefully I'll see target list here, which I do, which is good. Okay, so the reason why you want to do that is when you create the calls that are related to the campaign in this related to column here, you want to see that this call is related to a campaign, right? So let's go and do the workflow. All right, so I'm going to create the workflow. Okay, and I don't know, let's call it mail campaign follow-up. Okay, and I want this, sorry, I'm just getting my notes handy here. I want this to run on the campaign log, okay? Campaign log. So this log gets created after a campaign is run, and it shows all the people who got the campaign. So that's exactly what we want. We want this to be active, and we want it to run on all records, okay? And don't select the repeated runs. You'll see that's selected on my blog article just because I was doing testing it and making sure it worked. But you do not want that selected, okay? Otherwise it'll keep running and running and running and creating calls for everybody in the campaigns. Okay, so the conditions that I want this to run on are in the campaign log that the activity type is equal to message sent. Okay, so anytime a message is sent or attempted, okay, then that the campaign type is equal to mail. Where are we here? PQ. Sorry. That the campaign type, not the campaign log, that the campaign type, so we want campaigns related to campaigns, type is mail. Okay, now I'm just putting that limitation there because the purpose of this is to follow up like a snail mail campaign, but you don't need that qualifier in there if you want this to happen on every campaign. Okay, in this case we're just going to do it for mail campaigns. We're not going to do it for email campaigns or anything else, just if it's marked as a mail campaign. So the next thing we want to do from the campaign, we want to make sure that the status is equal to complete. Okay, because we don't want to start scheduling the calls until after the email campaign, or sorry, the mailing campaign is completed. Okay, so those are our conditions. We want that the message has been sent, that it's a mail campaign, and that the campaign is complete. So the actions we want to do is we want to create a record, and we are going to want to create a call. Okay, and then we are going to want to assign it to, so here's one caveat with this method here, is that there's not a good way to assign it to whoever's assigned to the account. Okay, I wish. However, you could afterwards create a second workflow to reassign it to who's assigned to the account. Okay, but in this case I'm just going to assign them all to myself, the administrator. Okay, you could obviously choose a specific field or a round robin. The problem with field is there isn't a field that gives us the name of the person who's assigned to the account. Okay, so again, you could get creative and run another workflow that looks for these specific types of calls and then reassigns them. That wouldn't be too hard to do if you want to do that. Or you could do a round robin, or you could assign it to a group. For example, if you have like your telemarketing follow-up group or something, you could round robin assign it to those people. Okay, so that's the one whole weakness of this whole thing, but it's not that big of a deal. Okay, so we want the call status to be planned, okay, because we haven't made the call yet. And I want the start date of the call to be a date, which is today, plus, let's say we're going to follow up in 7 days, because it takes 7 days to mail the mailing, okay? All right. And then we are going to want to have a direction, and we want that outbound. So pretty much all these fields that get populated on a call record, we just want to go through here and populate them. So the duration is going to be, let's say, 15 minutes. Okay. And we want the subject to be mailing follow-up. We want the parent type to be a target list. Remember, we just added that relationship, and we want the related to ID to be the prospect list ID. Okay, and then target lists prospect list ID. Okay, and then we also want to add a relationship here to the contact, because we want the call to be related to the contact. So I'm going to select contact contacts, and I want this to equal the field, and I want it to be the target ID or prospect ID. So I remember it should show you here target ID, but it doesn't. Okay, and don't ask me why, but let's save it first. Okay, and then edit it, and I believe it will now allow us to select that. There we go. Okay, so the target ID is what we want here. Okay, so we are just going to save that now. Okay, so that's going to run, I'm going to make that run in the scheduler. Okay. Okay, so it's going to run when your scheduler runs in cron jobs. So the next thing I have to do, our workflow is all set up. So we have our, I'm going to go back to our campaign here. Where are we here? Okay, so we've got our campaign. The next thing that we want to do in order to kick out this campaign, so there's two conditions. It has to be complete and it has to be sent. Okay, so we're going to edit this campaign, and we are going to, sorry, not the target list. We want to go back to the campaign. Okay, so we want to change this from active, whoops, there we go, to complete. And don't forget, you got to click on this little check mark here. There we go. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is we want to mark it as sent. So don't send the emails, because it's going to send an email to all these people. You don't want to do that, okay? Because this is a mailing campaign. We are just going to mark it as sent. Okay, so because this is my test environment, I don't have like cron jobs running all the time. So what I'm going to do here is just put you on pause for a second, and then I'm going to go and run my cron jobs, and I'll show you the results. So I used this test mail campaign, and I realized after I had done it that I have 2 target lists attached to it, and some of them have the same person. Again, this is a test environment, so some of them have the same person on both lists. So it's going to create 2 calls. So in normal cases, you wouldn't have 2 test lists with the same people on them. So if that happens to be the case, you will get 2 calls in this case. So anyway, so what's going to happen if you click on the target list, for example, and open it up, okay, and then you see everybody that is on that target list, and you click on the person, for example, okay, you will see that this person got the mailing campaign in their activities scheduled, okay, as a follow-up call 7 days from now. Okay, so that worked out great. And if we go to our activities and go to our calls, okay, you'll see it created all of our mail follow-up campaigns. They're all related to the contact, okay, and they're related to the new target list, okay, or I guess I had a couple here that I was trying out in the campaign related to the Christmas card list, okay. But so because I had 2 target lists attached to the campaign. However, you can see it scheduled all the calls properly and it assigned them to the administrator, okay, which is me. So like I said, you may want to do another workflow secondarily that runs on new calls that looks for subject, mailing, campaign follow-up, okay, and then reassigns the call from the administrator to the person who owns the contact, okay, and you could do that by workflow as well, or as I said, you can do round robin or assign it to a group of people or whatever, but it works out good. If I open up a call here, you'll see everything's filled out properly, okay, so it's related to the contact down here, okay, related to the account, it's related to the target list, okay, and also there's the actual relationship to the target list, okay, and if you open it up, you'll see it's all set up properly, and the person is down here as the person who's scheduled you're going to have the call with, okay, so it creates it perfectly. All right, so that's how you would go about it. Everything works out good. Again, if you go to my blog, you will see that I've put all the screenshots and everything there to make it a little bit easier to follow. All the text and my warnings about a couple things here and there that that could be issues, as well. If you go to my blog and you feel like you need someone to help you with SuiteCRM, you need some customizations done that you don't know how to do, you would like someone to look at your installation and see how it works and is it set up optimally, I do those kinds of consulting gigs, so you can reach out to me through my website. But please, if you like the video, please make sure to like and subscribe, and that really helps out my channel get more views. All right, thank you very much. Have a great day.